The most important thing is we have to accept what's happened in the Middle East. There's a new economic normal, a new reality. So we need to have realistic budget targets for next year. So many of our members have set themselves up to fail already by not having realistic budget targets for next year. Budget targets for a lot of the multinationals, the global HQ or the family board for our family conglomerate members, have been reluctant to accept this new economic reality. And for many years, you have to remember, pre-Arab Spring, we're talking in this part of the world, an average growth rate for a decade of probably around 5.6%. And people still have this expectation. And there's a new business cycle. We will come out of this business cycle, but currently we have to accept that there's a new reality, a new normal, and budget targets have to be aligned to that, and action plans have to be aligned to that as well. The dollar essentially has become the part of the global credit cycle. So when the dollar is strong, you see the tightening of the global credit cycle getting tighter, obviously. When you have a weak dollar, which we have in the past, and you've had low interest rates, typically what happens is emerging market corporates go to the bond market, emerging market countries have as well, and they splurge on cheap cash. Some of these corporates also then further extend this credit out into the local currency as well. And now that we have this expectation of a dollar bull run, this means you're going to have a burdened corporate sector in many economies in emerging markets. So you need to look at economies with current account deficits, where they're dependent on inflows of foreign cash, and you have to look at your supply chain. For example, if you're overseeing Middle East, North Africa and Turkey could be one of these countries that comes under pressure, where a lot of corporates are burdened with dollar-denominated debt, where now you have the dollar strengthening relative to what's happening with the lira. So a lot of uncertainty and new dynamics coming onto the global stage that impacts our members and how they oversee their region. They need to make sure that the suppliers and partners that they're working with stress test them as much as possible and ensure that they're not going to be exposed to these markets. And then, most importantly, look for your action plans for 2017, which most of our members start doing this in the summer or November, October time. And they need to look at their action plans, look at potential investments that were going to take place in these markets, and maybe say, okay, we take a wait and see approach, or we stagger the investment in batches over the course of the year.